Hi, this is Kathy Weymouth from Two in the Temple, and we are in video number 2 of our new series, Personal Growth Strategy. And I'm really hoping that this series will help you not only set a goal or a new habit or an area of your life that you want to grow in personally, not only set that and start out working towards it, but actually being successful, like achieving what it is that you want to accomplish. And so I'm working hard creating curriculum. I feel like I'm in my old days of teaching, and I have so many things in my head that I want to share with you. So I'm thinking this video might be a little bit longer. I'm hoping it'll be not more than 10 minutes. Okay. Um, that's my goal, less than 10 minutes. Okay. So I want to talk about 3 things today. First of all, I asked you to brainstorm something that you wanted to work on. And I want to talk first about SMART goals, SMART. These are goals or desires that become more achievable. And someone came up with the acronym SMART and set some names to these letters. So the first one is your goal needs to be specific. And I did ask you last week, in the handout especially, to be very specific about what it is that you want to grow in, what you want to achieve. Be very detailed. Okay, that's S for specific. M is measurable. Is the thing that you want to do, is there some way to measure it? Now, obviously it's easier if it's a number, like you want to lose a certain amount of weight, or you want to build up to a 5K race. These have numbers. But even if it's something that's personal, is there a way for you to just show that you are actually making progress? Is there a way to measure your progress? Okay, so that's the M. A stands for achievable. Now, the thing that you're desiring to do, is this really achievable? Okay, so if you have a broken leg, you are not going to climb Mount Mansfield in Vermont that's 4,500 and some odd feet high. You're not going to be able to do it. So make sure that this desire, this dream, this goal is actually achievable for you. You have the energy, you have the skills, you have the time to do this. And that brings up a thought that I wanted to mention. Sometimes when we're setting off on a new venture, we need to put something else aside to make space for energy and time. So I want to ask you that. Is there something that you need to maybe put on pause in your life? Or even drop altogether, so that you will have the time, you will have the energy to actually work on your personal goal. Okay, so that's A. Is it achievable? R, is it relevant? Is it relevant to your life? Is this something that you really want to achieve for yourself? Not what someone else is putting on you, not someone else saying that you need to change. Is this relevant to your life goals, your dreams for yourself? Okay, so it's a really important question. I want you to be working on something that really relates to your life's journey, your life's dreams. Okay, and then the last T is timely. Is there a certain amount of time that you can invest in this growth process? Is there like an end to it where you know that you have made progress? Sometimes there might be occasional exceptions where you just want to really be growing in an area the rest of your life. But that's an exception. A lot of times goals are more timely, and it sort of creates a sense of urgency because you have a start date, you have an end date, and you're into it. You're vigilant about it because you know that the ending date is coming up. So maybe just, even if it's a lifelong dream, just have a date at which you really want to see some progress. Okay, so that's SMART goals. That's number 1, all right? SMART. Now, number 2, I mentioned last week, what's your personality like? Are you a starter or are you a finisher? So let me talk about these 2 things. You either fall in one category or the other, usually. So starters are people that, oh my gosh, they get so energized by coming up with something new to start. And they have this creative idea energy, and they light right up, and they're so excited to start something new. Okay, so those are starters. The downside of a starter is once the newness and the energy wears off, they give up and go on to something else that's new and exciting, and they don't tend to finish the things they start. Okay, so I don't want you to criticize yourself. I don't want you to think badly of yourself if you're a starter. The world needs starters. We need the starters. It's just the way that you're wired. Okay, now let's talk about finishers. Finishers have a hard time starting. They tend to overthink everything. They procrastinate. They think about every detail and all that's involved in it. So that's the downside of a finisher. But you know what the upside is? You finish things. You get them done. When you start something and you get into it, there's no way you're not finishing. So I tend to be a finisher. And I had a friend that was a starter, and it was hard because I wanted to finish. And this person was on to something new and I hadn't finished yet. So if we were doing something together. So anyway, we just need strategies. That's all. So find out, ask yourself, am I a starter or a finisher? And here are some strategies. Ready? So for the starters, let me flip my notes over here. You need a start and end date. Okay, that'll really help you. And you need to break this down into one simple step at a time and be committed to finishing this project, especially before you start anything else. Like I have a tendency with books to get into a book and order it and start reading it. And then before I'm finished that book, there's another book that's got my attention. Well, this just happened this week. I want to get another book to read. I'm talking nonfiction books or growth books. And I've made a commitment to myself that I'm going to finish the book I'm in before I order, or at least be on the last chapter before I order the next book. So commit to finish before you start something new. And maybe come up with like a reward for yourself when you accomplish your dream. Or maybe have some accountability with a friend. So those are strategies for starters. Okay. Now, strategies for finishers. You too need a start and end date, especially a start date. And can you start with something small? Think of one thing, one simple step to get you started, to get you rolling. Maybe put it right in your calendar that you're going to start on this date. Try to stop yourself from overthinking. Don't dwell on all the details yet. Just get an overall picture of where you want to go and just start with one simple step. And then if this is sort of a project related goal that you have, give yourself chunks of time to really work on it because you're going to thrive in that. Okay, so those are tips for finishers. All right, so you need to know what you are and work with some of those tips. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to talk about is I want you to make a plan. It's called a journey timeline. And I suggest that you do this, like put a start date, put an end date, and then think about milestone goals to get there. Like break your journey up into like 3 parts. It could be 3 months. It could be 3 milestones where you take your overall plan of where you want to go and you break it into smaller. What do I have to do the first month? So let me give you an example. I am heading up our 50th class reunion from high school. Okay, so I needed to add one more project to my plate, but I've done it in the past and I did agree to do it when asked. So I am breaking this up into milestones. First, I'm putting together a committee, and that committee, we're going to choose a date, and we're also going to look at the list of all of our classmates. I think it was 126. Okay, and we're going to divide those up, and I'm going to have each person responsible for finding latest contact information for a number of people. I'm not even worrying about where we're going to go yet. Where are we going to meet? We just need a start date and a committee to find people. Okay, so that's an example of having sort of these smaller milestones. And I wanted to show you that in the handouts, which I have optional handouts for you. You can look at the details on the video where the video is described. I created this journey timeline where you can go from your starting place and the 3 increments that you wanted to get to your ending place, so you can fill these in. And what is your first milestone or monthly goal? And then start brainstorming what are the individual little mini goals you need to do in order to be able to finish this. And then what's your second one? And then what would be the individual goals? And then third one and individual. But you wouldn't need to do all this at once. Maybe just get your start, your end, and your monthly steps, and just what are you going to do your first month or your first milestone. So here's an example from the handout that I've created. Okay, this is it. 10 minutes. Okay, video 2, Kathy Weymouth, tunethetemple.com.